Okay, hi everyone. I have literally been promising you all a tutorial on how to use the four main components or how to separate them and how to place them in Pilates. I just have not had time. So I've decided tonight that I'm just going to make the time right now and I'm going to try and explain it to you. Okay? So in Pilates, we have four different segments of the body that we focus on in order to correctly place the body and to create stabilization around the spine. Okay, we focus on neck placement, all right, so your head. We focus on your diaphragm. Okay, we focus on your scapula, and we focus on your pelvis, which is, if I show you, all right, so let me do this. All right, pelvis is here. This here is your pelvis. The inside the joint, that's your hip, right? That's a joint. The hip is a joint. The pelvis is that structure. You got hip bones, which I use a lot in my cues. All right, we've got the ribs. Okay, now the ribs, why I'm doing it like this is because the ribs, we want to squeeze them in like that. All right, we want to keep them tight. A lot of people, when they think of good posture, they think that this is good posture, right? But it's not. And the reason for that is because when you do that, you compress the disc in the back. Okay, so you're actually hurting your spine when you do that. So the reason we keep the rib cage tucked in at the same time as tilting the tailbone in, we create space between the vertebrae. So none of the vertebrae are compressed. Okay. When we do, with our neck, when we do this, we compress the discs in the front, and when we do that, we compress the discs at the back. And therefore, we need to keep our chin straight. Okay, so I'm just going to tie up my hair. This is very, very impromptu. This is something coming for a long time, and I thought I need to do this right now, okay, because all of you need to know about this. This is very important. Okay, so let's start with the head. I'm going to use this wall as a reference. Okay, so if you look at me standing against the wall, all right, what's very important to do is to get the head placement right. This is a great practice. If you're somebody that has really rounded shoulders and your head is forward, you can take a cushion or a block, put it behind you, and push your head against that. Okay, right, now it's not about, if I say to you lift your head, it's not about your chin, it's actually about this part of your head, this is the base of your head, okay? So we push the pillow against the wall with the base of our head, but we keep our chin level. So there's no compression in the front of the cervical spine or the back. No, in front of the neck or the back, all right? That's your neck placement. Now, when you're doing any exercise, generally that's how we want it. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we do that in movement? What we want to think of is lengthening, using these neck muscles here, like someone's pulling you up, lengthening yourself up and slightly back, just like that. Okay, that's how you do the neck. Now sometimes what happens is when you try to change the position of the neck, the shoulders do something wrong, because the body doesn't know how to disassociate, because we do everything it does everything together. The spine needs to have its own, each vertebra needs its own personality, let's call it. Okay, they all need to move on their own. But when we're bending over, we're doing that instead of the fact that your spine can move on its own. Okay, so this is what we're trying to teach. Right, this is not the best video of all time, but I'm hoping that it's going to get the message across. Right, this next one. Okay, we've got your scapula. Okay, now I speak a lot about the scapula with you guys. Scapula is a shoulder blade. All right. When I started Pilates, I was like this. Okay, how did I change my posture? I was taught that your scapula can do 4 movements. All right, or your shoulder blades. Okay, they can elevate, which is a very common posture for most people. They can depress, which is putting them down. They can protract, which is forward. And they can retract, which is pull back. All right? Watch how my hands change when I retract. when I protract, they go like that. Okay, so think of that. Now, these are the four the ways that the scapula can move, and a lot of people are in the following position. This, okay, and that's due to computer screens. It's due to emotional stuff that you're carrying. A lot of things can cause that. Even breast implants can cause that. That's what happened with me. All right. So the ideal positioning that we want you in your movements is the opposite of this. Depression, depression, depression. Take your shoulder blades, pull them down towards the bum. So whenever I'm cueing you and you're doing abs or whatever you're doing, and I say, pull your shoulders toward, or if you're in a plank, pull your shoulder blades towards your bum. That's what I'm saying. Think of them as like blades that are gliding across the body like that. Okay? So they're blades, they're gliding. All right. But not only do we want them to glide down, we also want them to connect together to create a solid, stable shoulder girdle. That's why there's a lot of people getting injuries in their shoulders, because they're not solid, they're not stable, they're not activating the muscles in their upper back or between their shoulders to stabilize. So you like this, pick something up, this joint is completely unstable, and you pull a muscle. But if you're depressed and you're retracted and you pick something up, even in that position, there's absolutely no way you're going to hurt yourself. Okay, because you're braced, your body's braced for it. Okay, but now what happens is, when I ask people to retract and depress, they go, depress is fine, but then retraction, they go, boink. Okay, it's not about the spine. This is a spinal movement, because you can see the spine is opening up. The scapula just does that, and that is coming from here. Watch my hand, open. All right, that's all good. All right, so that's the head, that's the scapula. So it's the neck and the scapula. Then we've got the ribs. Now, the ribs were actually one of my biggest problems that I didn't even know about. Okay. The ribs are a difficult one to explain. Okay, so now we're going to think about biology here. The ribs, how they look, right? They've got like this thing, and there's like a gap here, and there's a sternum over here. That's why when I always say to you guys, you must crunch from the sternum. All right. The ribs, if you flare them, okay, they are in a weakened position. Your core is in a weakened position, because think of an elastic band. You take an elastic band and you stretch it, right? It's weaker when it's long, when it's overstretched, than when it's tight. So now your core now becomes weaker, and your vertebrae and your discs in your back become compressed and tight. And really, does that sound good to you? Like crunching together, weak here. No, it's not. It's just not a vibe. Okay. So, well, you've got to start to see them as steps. Head, step 1. Scapula, step 2. Ribs, step 3. So now, sorry, I'm just going to do this. I hope it's alright. Step 3 is that. So you take your ribs, you pretend that someone's pushing them together, stapling them together, but while pulling your shoulder blades back and down and your head back. Okay, it takes practice, but I'm trying to give you guys the first tutorial that I can to educate you. This may only partially get through to you, but at least it's something to start with. I'm going to try and put some numbers and edit this thing and what. The last one that I want to work with is your pelvis, which is actually the easiest one to work with. When I got my back injury, I used to stand like that. That's called the lordosis. So what does that look like? Compression in the low back, all right? Abs are out, so what are they now? They lengthen, so they're weak. So what I've been taught is that this is called an anterior or a forward tilt of the pelvis. All right? So what we've got to do, we have to do the opposite. So what we do is we do an posterior tilt of the pelvis, right? How do we do that? You're probably thinking, what the hell am I talking about? Here's my hip bones. All right, they're there, right? I want to bring them up. So my bum's here. You know what my Pilates instructor taught me? Squeeze your bum cheeks together. Look what happens. Ta-da! Bum cheeks together. Ta-da! And then you immediately, your pelvis shifts, and now you're in an posterior pelvic position. That is very important as well. Okay. Now some people are really in that. Some people are in that, and some people actually need a bit more of that. Everyone's got a different posture, but we want a neutral spine. So we don't want this, and we don't want this. You know, we want to. That's the fundamentals of what I'm trying to teach. Because when your body's in that kind of position, in that alignment, in that brace, you get stronger. Your stabilizers get stronger. You create length as well as strength. You don't just weaken your muscles by stretching away. You're activating constantly. And if you ask any of you can ask Vicky, actually, my client Vicky, she'll be happy to give you a testimonial on this. How much more intense the workouts felt for her in the gym than just because she braced. She braced her shoulders, she braced her ribs, she braced her pelvis, she braced her scapula, and then she worked out. And then she felt the difference. All right. I hope this helps. I know I'm wearing black. It's not ideal. But I'm going to try and write this all down as well. And somehow cut it up and fix it and do something so that you can understand. Then if there's any questions you have, please send me a question. I'm happy to answer it. There's no stupid question here. This is a very complicated thing. It actually took me a very long time to understand. Alright, so hope it helps, guys. Sorry, this is the best you're going to get out of me at this point, but there will be more tutorials, there will be more videos, and I am going to work with someone more professionally when I have the financial backing and the time. Okay, mwah.